We're back. Well, I'm not back. I'm new here. They're back. I'm
Hey.
Finnley Pendergast, the sports editor here at the Collegian. To my right is
Alexis, managing editor, and I am back.
you're back, and
Valentina, I'm the editor-in-chief, and I am also back.
they are back for the Collegian Cool Down podcast. This is a weekly series. We've had a semester break. They've had a semester break, but we're bringing it back. We're really excited this semester. We're going to have a lot of guests. We're talking all things Bulldog sports, past and present, and professional sports. So we're going to have some guests on here in the coming weeks, so be on the lookout for that. But this week, we got a lot to talk about because with the spring sports starting up soon, and basketball, men's and women's basketball going on, and football is still relevant in the spring. So let's begin with men's basketball. They are struggling, to put it nicely. 1-9 in conference under Coach Vance Wahlberg. It's his first year with the team. A lot of injuries, some weird things going on around the lineup. So Alexis, get us started with the basketball team.
Basketball is, in fact, struggling. They don't know what they're doing. Poor team. I mean, it's just a crap ton of stuff going around there. Was Vance even supposed to be playing at a D1 level? He probably should have started at JUCO, coming from high school. I understand.
Well, he did play at Pepperdine.
He had his
or,
like
coach
NBA
at
experience and
Mhm.
stuff like that. That was before NIL. Like, how old is the guy? He should have eased his way into D1. He's not ready for D1. He's coaching like he's not ready for D1. Dribble drive is clearly not working in the NCAA. So, I don't know, Val.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have a lot to work with right now. A lot of players are injured. Amar's gone. JUCO Player of the Year last year is not on the team anymore. Some other issues that have been going on. And it's obviously it doesn't look the best. But I think he's had enough time to where it's like, now, you need to pick it up. And it's like way into conference.
I hope he's
So.
realizing how hard the Mountain West Conference actually
Yeah,
is.
it's a tough, especially for basketball.
It is actually a tough conference to be in.
I mean, you have San Diego State, not too far removed from going, championship game
Yeah.
in March Madness. There's a lot of
Yeah.
good teams there.
One game away. Yeah. I mean, and then you have New Mexico doing so good this season, too, in basketball. You have, obviously, Boise's up there. They're not doing super good this season. San Diego still there.
Yeah.
Colorado. I mean, we just have, like, such a hard conference. We're, like, second to last in the conference. Warburg's not doing it.
Yeah, it is a hard conference, and you could sort of soften, I think it definitely helps that they're in a hard conference to play in. But at the end of the day, they're not winning games. They're not being competitive. And that I think is the big thing. When you look at all the statistics, I'm an analytics guy. I like looking at the numbers.
What
and
are the numbers?
They're bottom of pretty much all of them, especially rebounding. They're one of the worst rebounding teams, let alone the conference and the whole NCAA. They're not hitting their shots. They're not playing defense. They're not doing a whole lot to put themselves in these winnable games. They beat Air Force, but
the worst
that's
team in
it.
the
that's
conference.
the other worst team in the
Yeah.
conference. So there's a lot of
Besides
work
San
to
Jose.
do. You seem a little tired of the coach. You think he hasn't given a fair shot.
Mhm.
Do you?
Well, I think with what he has been given, but at the end of the day, that's just how it is with college athletics. You have to adapt, and you have to adapt quick, and he hasn't been able to do that. So, I mean, I feel like his shot is as fair as Hudson's shot last season. So,
Okay, everyone thought going
Back to
back to
Hudson.
Hudson a little bit. He did say we were
Yeah.
talking past also, bringing up the past. Everyone thought Hudson was a horrible coach.
now they want him back.
We just got
Yeah.
worse. We literally just got worse.
I think you look at all the injuries they've had this season, that definitely plays a role in it. That definitely hurts their rebounding because they're
Hudson
having to
had
play
a lot of
small
injuries
ball.
too, and still did better.
It's not just injuries, though, too. You have a couple guys. You have Amar Aguilar, who was leading the team in points. Didn't really know how to pass the ball, but still led the team in points. And then you have these problems with academics. So it isn't just injuries.
Right.
That's a big problem
Yeah.
for the team.
I think he has no depth to his bench. Like, there's a bunch of players who are also just sitting on the bench, suited up, but he doesn't put them in, and he just sticks to the same ones. Obviously, if you're playing two halves, you're going to be tired. And that's why they can't close out those type of games. Every game has been pretty close. They just don't close out and pull off the win. So,
And mind you, like, Classy wasn't even the one who hired Wahlberg.
yeah,
It was, at the time,
President Sandoval.
yeah, or like the board of whoever was
Or
on
the
the board.
interim. Was there an interim?
Athletic director,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, technically, it doesn't really fall on Classy, but
Right.
I mean, the team is struggling. They have a game tomorrow at Boise. They're probably gonna get beat again. But I was looking like I'm like scrolling and stuff like that, and people are saying like we're a team that like
Like the underdogs.
could possibly like, cause just how close our score has been to the different teams. So they're saying like we can, but it's just I don't know. I don't think we can't close off games. Like it's bad. It's just almost looking like a repeat of last year, where it's like you need a 3-point to tie the game, and we're just not doing it. I mean, I think, in my opinion, since the season started, I remember because I went to Bakersfield to go watch men's basketball play. Went to Bakersfield. I was watching their warm-ups, and I'm like, dang, Jasir Trumbull shoots really good threes. And I told the person I was with, I was like, wow, they need to put him in more. And I still think till this day they need to play him more because you're down 3. I don't know. He needs more playing time.
Heart.
Which he will probably get more playing time now just because the roster is so thin now. But he definitely needs more playing time.
Yeah. I mean, they got Boise State tomorrow. I think Colorado State game gave some fans hope because they were in it for this long. But a lot of these games they're losing by 20. They have a good first half, and they just throw the game away in the second half. It's very tough to watch for all these fans, but people are still going to the game.
Well, they just lost in overtime to Wyoming.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're competing sometimes first half of these games, so it's pretty tough. But attendance is still up there, top 6 in the Mountain West. So people clearly want to see the product that they're putting on the floor, and I think they do believe in Coach Wahlberg. But he does only have 1 year on his contract, so this offseason will be definitely a big point of emphasis, bringing in new guys.
Right. I also think the fans still come because he is from the Valley. So Hudson, I feel like if he was from the Valley, people would still come no matter how your school's doing because you know it's a Valley guy. And people from Fresno always want to support people who are still in the Valley. So that's why I think no matter how they're doing, people will still show up because they don't have to travel 6 hours to go see a coach that's from their city. They don't have to travel so far. They don't have to travel to Wyoming if their coach is from Fresno. So that's why I honestly think people are still coming, not because they see hope in the team, but it's because you have a Valley guy here and you don't have to travel. You got to travel, down Shaw, down Herndon just to get to the St. Martin Center, you know? So that's why I honestly think fans still show up.
Do you guys think, well, obviously post-conference play is way different than actual conference play. Last year they they won the first round, and the second round was a really close game as well. Like Alexis said, they're voted as like the underdogs most likely to come back, or not come back, but like be a sleeper pick. Do you guys think they'd be able to do a run in the Mountain West tournament this year, or do you not see it?
Not really. I mean, they're just the second half of games. They're either in it till the very end, or they just start off really slow. And you can't do that. You can compete for the first 20 minutes, but there's still another half of basketball to play.
I don't see it either. Mainly because Hudson, his team was bad last season, but he had 6 years of experience going to the Mountain West Conference. This is Wahlberg's first season going to the Mountain West tournament because every team makes it. It's such a different atmosphere over there.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the same level of play. Now you're getting people who you actually travel, like Nevada, they travel good. Utah, those fans travel good. They're all going to be out there. And so it's different, especially when you're at a neutral site and stuff like that. Obviously, UNLV will not be. They'll be at home, but it's so different. He's never been there.
Yeah.
The biggest championship is his college championship, probably in Solana Arena or something. I mean, his
The CIF, whatever.
high school championship, yeah. But it's such different atmosphere. It's nothing compared to even conference play. Like, it's such another level, especially teams like Utah and Wyoming. I mean, not Wyoming, Utah and New Mexico and stuff.
They travel good.
Who are fighting to get to the last spot. You're playing at your highest level. And I don't think he's ready for that. I don't think he's ready to coach that. I don't think he's ready for that. I don't think the players are either.
Yeah.
And if you look at the competition in the tournament, if you can't rebound now, I mean, if they couldn't even rebound before conference play, what do you think they're going to do when they get in the tournament? When you need to win the battle inside the paint, they just can't do it.
And those games are super competitive. We went last year. It's like those players do not care. They're putting their body on the line, doing everything that they didn't do during conference just because it's literally 0-0 again. Everyone has a shot. So way different.
Pierre's been
atmospherically.
doing good rebounding, but his hand is a big problem of why he can't take shots and stuff like that. So he might be able to get the rebound, but he has to pass it out and stuff like that. But he has been really trying, and you can tell on the court that he's been putting an effort to get those rebounds and stuff. Morsek, on the other hand, doesn't. But
it's tough. I mean, he's wearing a lineman's brace. It's kind of tough to go
Well,
up and
even
down
is
the
his
court.
injury.
his injury has been there since forever. He's had his
It's
injury.
tough to make it back from an ACL injury and still.
I guess he has to go to Germany or something. I don't know.
Oh my god.
What did Christian McCaffrey
Yeah,
do
he
then?
went
But
to
yeah,
so-
I mean, it's been a very long time. By this point, you should already be.
Well, I mean, obviously
Almost
it's not
at
going to be
100.
easy to heal from an injury if you just keep playing on it too. It's like you're doing rehab, but you're also got 2 games every week, and that's obviously going to put a strain on the body. But I don't know. I mean, that brings up the question too: is it good to like have players even play when they're injured or recovering from an injury, especially like an ACL tear? That's big. That's really big injury.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Very tough to play on. It's hard that is one of the main pieces. I mean, because there's so many injuries, you have to throw a guy like that out on the court, make him play, 30 minutes a game when he's wearing that huge brace. Switching over to the other basketball team here at Fresno State, women's basketball doing a little bit better. So we'll have some better energy maybe on this one, some more positive.
I don't know how their fans are like. I mean, I'm sure it's not
They
better
have
than men's
dedicated
basketball
fans, yeah.
still.
Mhm.
It's I don't think it's even to the level of men's basketball,
But they
are
do
doing
have
better.
some big players to cheer on, starting with Mia Jacobs, who was having an incredible year.
Yeah.
I mean, Becky Hammond, mid-year watch list. She's had 2 back-to-back 30-point double-doubles. The last D1 women's player to do that was, you guys heard of Caitlin Clark? You guys ever heard of
I
her?
think
She's,
I know
never
who she is.
heard.
she's pretty
You
good
know
at
what?
basketball.
Kinda rings a bell.
I did know who she was until she said she was a Kansas City fan. So
Oh.
Okay.
Kansas City
Okay.
Chiefs
Which we'll
fan.
get into.
Yeah,
We'll get
If,
into.
if you're in the
I'm
same
just kidding. I do
conversation
know who
as,
she
as
is.
Caitlin Clark, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Women's basketball is 5-4 in conference play, so they're middle of the pack. They're maybe 7th, 8th in the conference, so they're obviously better than the men's basketball team, but led by Mia Jacobs.
And she had her 1,000 points pass, so that's a huge achievement for any kind of athlete. Yeah, I mean, Jamie White, we did write a story and do a video day in her life, so check that out on our website. But she's been doing it for a while, and I think it's working this year. Last year, I know it was a tougher year, but I mean, Mia Jacobs definitely the leading factor in that team, so I think that's really good.
It's time for her to have a breakout season because she's on her last year of her
Yeah.
contract. Now, Classy is going to have to decide if do I want to take her into the Pac-12 with me? Is she a Pac-12 caliber coach? So, I mean, she's on her last season. She hasn't done great throughout all her seasons that she's been here at all. So, I mean, this is her season to prove herself. It's kind of like now or never, really, because that's really her contract on the line.
Yeah. I feel like she's done average. Not like the best, but not like the worst. She did have the Cavender twins here that one season where they won the Mountain West Conference. They didn't do very well in the tournament, but they did win the conference championship. So, I mean, she has something, but like you said, Pac-12, different kind of atmosphere, and which we will get into a little bit later. Just realignment as a whole begs the question, like staff, new staff, different staff. So, yeah, Jamie White has a season, well, half a season now, to kind of prove that she's able to do that. So,
Yeah,
She's
the-
had too much time here.
Yeah.
do you think it's time for her to go, or?
Well, I don't know how the season's going to end up, but
Mm.
she's had a lot of time here to prove how she can make it or not. So I think this season's really big for her and her salary.
Clock is ticking. There's a lot of interesting conversations that the athletic director needs to have with a lot of the sports.
Or mention them at least.
Yeah, definitely need to talk about them a little bit more than maybe they have been doing. Transitioning to another sport, probably the best sports team on campus,
Right.
water polo.
Yeah.
They are the
Killing it.
7th ranked team in the nation. They just beat number 15 UC Santa Barbara on Friday. They're at the 2025 Triton Invite. They play number 5 Hawaii tomorrow. They have been playing very well, and it's interesting. They are probably up there with equestrian as the best team on campus.
It's
Yeah.
crazy how more people don't talk about water polo. Water polo is like one of our biggest in terms of like how good they're doing. Obviously
Yeah.
football, but in terms of like the best sport here of our records and stuff,
It's
why
water
are
polo.
more people not talking about volleyball? I mean, sorry, water polo.
I was like, wait.
Volleyball in the pool.
Volleyball did
Yeah.
pretty good.
Volleyball
last-
in
yeah.
the pool. But why are more people not talking about,
Mhm.
soccer in the pool, I'd say. But
Yeah.
Uh,
We're going for 3-peat in the GCC.
mm-hmm.
Three or
3-peat,
four-peat.
4-peat.
I think
They
it might
they
be
win a
4.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
the
it's been a
Gold
couple
Coast
years that they just keep winning, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
More people need to talk about water polo. I mean, do people even go to their games? Yeah, their little section gets full,
Yeah.
but like this it's not too big of a
A pool
aquatic
stadium,
center,
yeah.
you know? I don't know. I just think that there should definitely be more
They do
students out
have-
there. There should be tailgates out there. Considering how good they're doing, they
Yeah.
deserve the support,
I think
you know?
that comes up with like marketing and stuff like that too, because you don't see them as much as you say football during football season. But I mean, the fans that do show up for them, they're really passionate. They be yelling. I've been to a couple of games, so it's kind of crazy. But I mean, they're doing really good. And they have Heli Andres, who is a junior, who back on the pool. She did really good last year, so I think that helped.
The fans may not be recognizing them as much, but the conferences.
Yeah.
Brooke Ochoa was named to the GCC Player of the Week this past week. There's a lot of good players on the team, and that's why they're ranked number 7 in the nation. Going into, we talk about the marketing side of things and why certain teams are up here and other teams are down here. We went to an event yesterday where the athletic director, Garrett Classy, was talking to donors, and pretty much, I took some notes. What I got from it, that was an hour-long speech about football. We do have other sports on campus that we're
Right.
talking about. What was your take from yesterday's event?
I thought it was a lot of show, here's football, here's what we could do for football.
I even was writing
Give
little
us-
notes to
yeah.
Val. Like, it was that bad.
Yeah,
Like,
it was just
this
football.
thing was so bad that I was even on my little notebook. I'm all writing notes. I'm writing notes to her. Like, do we
What-
not
yeah.
have any other sport at this school besides football?
And
Get
it
it's a big
might have
sport,
been
but-
at the beginning. I was like, maybe we're being a little too hard. But then when it came to the donor speaking, they felt the same way, and they brought up, "You're spreading yourself so thin." There's other sports here on campus. So, I mean, I feel like he was just, I don't know. He needed to add in more sports for sure in that talk, and I think the donors definitely felt that because they voiced their opinions and concerns. So
I think in his defense, he did bring this up. He talked about one of his examples was Oregon and their success on the football field sort of translated to other programs within the school getting better, which I could understand. But, I mean, you have the number 7th ranked water polo team.
yeah,
That wasn't discussed. You have equestrian doing fantastic things over there, but instead it's always football, football, football.
They also
Everything else.
They also pointed out how he only talked about men's sports. I don't really know if he really did. I just did hear football because he didn't talk about basketball. He didn't even talk about men's basketball. I mean, even in the video they showed us, there was only one clip of men's basketball, which was them going to Valley Children's to do community service. But even the whole video was like football, ends, football.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really like. I think he was just not including every other sport.
I think when it comes to
This being women's and men's.
right, I think when it comes to especially the Valley though, they do have very strong, support for the Fresno State football team, which is great. But obviously, that's not the whole Valley. There's a lot of people who just like Fresno State men's basketball. There's a lot of people who just like Fresno State women's basketball. So I think he wasn't catering to his audience, which was why it ended up being the way it ended up at the end. So
Well, listen, if I'm not an athletic director, right? And I'm probably never going to be an athletic director, but if I'm talking to an audience, you have to think of your target audience. I understand he held that because he wanted to get money, but in that audience, he didn't only have donors for football.
yeah,
You have basketball donors who want to hear about basketball. You have different donors for each sport. So it's like now you're just discouraging every other person who is donating to these other sports, and they're not going to want to donate anymore because you don't even acknowledge them.
Yeah, he touched on a little bit of the move to the Pac-12. That's not just affecting football. That's affecting
every sport.
every sport.
Yeah,
I mean, now your basketball team has to play one of the top teams in the nation, Gonzaga, who is going to be in the Pac-12
huge
also.
basketball school too.
And you don't even mention that.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Yeah.
always a top 5 pick
yeah,
to win all of the March Madness tournament.
Yeah.
And now we're going to
Every
be playing them,
season,
a
yeah.
couple times a year. It's going to be, you're going to get the TV money, but is the product, if you're a Fresno State fan, is that really worth watching them get smoked by 40 every time they play them? So,
Possibly with the high school coach if they decide to keep him.
yeah.
Well, I mean, he hasn't. Well, the expansion one would be July 1st, 2026. So
Yeah. I mean,
it's up in the air for sure.
Mhm.
Something else that he talked about, which I found kind of interesting, was the exit fees for the Mountain West. He said that they had kind of a good case to maybe not pay them. Didn't go into much details. I know he said that there's some litigation going on, so that might be the reason why. But I don't know. I didn't even know you could do that for conference realignments. So
Mhm.
that he's going to use the TV.
no,
TV
that
money?
they have like a good case to not pay the exit fees. Like SMU paid the exit fees in full. Everyone else is in litigation right now to try to get around that or try to get out of paying that money, because it is a lot of money to exit the Mountain West. But I mean, that's something else that went kind of unanswered.
He did say that students won't be paying for it. He said the university won't be paying for it. And he said that the donors won't be paying for it.
So how is that gonna get paid?
I don't know where you're going to whip money out of. I mean, our school is such in debt. Like, the whole Seymour Center stuff. I mean,
Valley Children's Stadium.
yeah, they're talking about remodeling that. They said they might use another measure, but the 2 measures did not pass the
Well-
last time that they did them. So it's like
What he said about the measures.
his
what
plans
the-
don't seem clear to me.
No.
I just
Yeah.
seems like he doesn't even know what he's talking
Well, he said
about.
the measures. There's no talks about there being any measures right now, but that it's an option at some point. Either way, he wouldn't be able to be allowed legally to be involved in those measure talks, just because the university can't have any connection to it. It has to be outside people. So
Well, and then I also have other questions for this guy. I mean, I got a million questions for this guy. I might just need to bring him in here one of these days.
interview him. Yeah.
But it's like, again, you're saying our budget cuts are going around, right? And he's saying, okay, by next year, we're going to have significant budget cuts. So he's saying that our sports teams at Fresno State are going to be affected. But he didn't say which ones. He's like, we don't know which ones.
Mhm.
But he did say football's not going to be one of them. He's like,
Yeah.
football will not be affected by these budget cuts. But they use the most money out of the whole athletic department. He didn't say that, but I'm
Mhm.
assuming they use
yeah.
the most money
They
out
do.
of the whole athletic department.
Yeah.
So it's like, am I supposed to assume now that you're going to cut some women's sports because you didn't talk about them? Am I supposed to assume that you're going to cut? I mean, it's like
And then
you're setting the wrong impression
Mhm.
I think
with all
that's-
these budget cuts coming up, and you're not talking about any other sport.
I think that was the impression that he sent throughout the whole room. Like, it was very hostile and it was open questions. But something else that he did bring up too was the balloon payments for the Save Mart Center, and then potentially having concerts at Valley Children's Stadium. I took a venues class for my sports marketing thing here at Fresno State, and due to the regulations of the law, because of sound and like just curfews, since it's a area where there's a lot of houses around Valley Children's Stadium, you wouldn't be able to host concerts there. Or if you try to host some concerts there, there's a lot
This
of
guy
like,
is
stuff.
educated.
There's like a lot of stuff that goes behind it. That's a lot of paperwork, a lot of legal stuff, and it just makes it hard. So that's why they have them at Save Mart Center. Obviously, there's not a lot of residential areas there. It's off of a highway. Sorian Theater in downtown. Obviously, it's enclosed. So curfew sound laws are real, and it's, I don't know how, when he was saying that, that's just what was going through my head. I'm like, I don't know how that would be possible.
I like that he's at least thought of using it, not just for football, because he did say we don't want this to just be used 6 Saturdays out of the year.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's a good thought and it makes sense, but we need to see it actually be used, not just for football.
But was that really him, though? Because I remember it was when I was the sports editor, so it might have still been when Terry Toomey was here. I don't remember if it was the transition, but I know Classy was not here yet, where he was talking, a whole thing came out where they wanted to make the Valley Children's Stadium a little Top Golf place.
Oh, I do
where
remember
you're
that.
shooting from the suites to the field, and that would be kind of like, I guess, a partnership with somebody, and they're gonna transform it into. Now that never happened, so it's like, was it really his idea to start using Valley Children's as something else? That makes me question, like, I don't know. Are you just picking ideas from, like, because of what you heard in the past or whatever? So I don't know, but it's like,
well, I believe, I don't remember exactly, but I believe that didn't happen because the stadium wasn't up to date with, like, the stuff that they needed to, like, set up that kind of golf thing. And he did talk about that, how, like, the stadium, Valley Children's Stadium, needs a lot of upgrades. But I mean, that's just a whole other issue on top of Save Mart Center, which is, like, so in depth. So I don't know.
There's a lot going on, and then on top of it, you know, all the renovations we need, all the debt we have, and then on top of it, oh hey, we're moving to the Pac-12.
Yeah, it's like just piling on and on and on.
Yeah, we're adding problems. It's just fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
With all the money that we need in order to do all these things, and now with the move to the Pac-12, who are we bringing with?
In my head, I think he thinks I'm gonna get so much money from the Pac-12. He was at Oregon, which was in the Pac-12, so he's been part of the Pac-12, but you don't have the same schools in the Pac-12 anymore, you know. So it's gonna be different. It's not gonna be the same. But I'm just thinking he's gonna have so much money from the Pac-12. It's not gonna be like that. I don't think it is. It's hard to get this. Like, we're like in a big hole right here. So it's gonna be hard to get the school out of this.
And then also NIL, which he talked about a bit, but that's something that I feel like Fresno State has been struggling to adapt with since it started. It's obviously something new, but I mean, schools like Oregon and other schools have a way bigger budget, are able to hop on it and get their donors. But I mean, it's just like you guys said, Pac-12, so much debt, and just like a new landscape of college athletics in general is a lot to take on. So,
well, another thing he said about NIL, if we're gonna jump on the NIL thing, he mentioned, which was really odd to me, that he said they will likely pass in April an NIL new thing. Well, it's not NIL, it's called shared revenue, I think.
Yeah.
So he's like, they will likely pass the shared revenue thing, and he was so certain about them passing it in April, so I'm assuming, well, maybe they will pass it in April. There will be a shared revenue where it's like you gather up all your revenue, and then this is the percent that you get to disperse to your student athletes. But that's not what really stuck out to me. What was like, oh my goodness, is like schools who decide. Now, he said you get to decide if you want to do shared revenue or not. He said Fresno State will continue doing the NIL method, but it's kind of messed up that, because he did say schools that will be doing the shared revenue, old athletes get to ask for back pay from the NCAA, and it won't come from the school's budget. The NCAA has put budget aside to ask for that back pay. Now, what if you come from Fresno State, who's like Paul George? What if, like, Orlando Robinson, you were here when, I mean, say like you didn't get that back pay or whatever. I don't know how far back they're gonna allow, but what if, like, your school's not doing shared revenue and you don't even get that back pay, but other athletes do? It just doesn't seem fair. Like, I don't know. That whole situation's kind of messed up too. I didn't really clearly understand why the NCAA is implementing this system or the whole NIL thing. They got to pick one or the other, because, like, how are some athletes going to get back pay from the NCAA and then others not? When you were playing around the same time, you could have been playing against another person who is getting this money now, but
so
you're
much
not.
money.
That's messed up.
I think the whole NIL thing as a whole is very confusing because no one knows how to go about it just because it's so new. These players are getting paid so much money, and then, like, you have, like, I don't know, Caitlin Clark had, like, a bunch of NIL money when she was, like, in college. A couple years before that, women's college basketball players obviously not getting paid at all. So it's just a new landscape that I feel like they're trying to navigate, but since it's so new, they're having so much issues and controversies with it.
Moving to a bigger conference like the Pac-12 can definitely help, but I mean, there are some schools no one from the Mountain West, no one from the Pac-12 can compete with. It'll be very interesting, not just for football, but for basketball. Like we see, I think there needs to be moves made, but how much money can Fresno State throw at these athletes? I don't know if they can compete with other bigger schools.
Yeah, that's your donors. How much money your donors are going to give to Fresno State. And if you're going to leave a sour apple like you did to the whole donor community, how Classy did, you're not going to want to donate.
Yeah.
Really? When all you talk about is football? You know how many women donors there were in there?
Yeah. A lot.
And mind you, it doesn't even matter, women or not women. He wasn't talking about any sport besides football. You know, and it was a guy who asked that even noticed that you weren't talking about all this. So nobody's going to want to donate. He's not going to get donors.
I do think the move to the Pac-12, obviously the TV deal will definitely be able to help. I mean, not just, we keep saying not just for football, but for everything. You get more eyes on all these different sports with the TV deal, because right now it's kind of tough to watch other sports, especially for away games, if you're not, with all these different streaming services, if you're not, hooked up with all of those. So the TV deal will definitely get help, getting more eyes, not just for football, but for all the sports. So that is something to look forward to if you're a Fresno State fan.
And he did mention a couple outlets that were looking into buying the new Pac-12. He was saying ABC, what is it?
Time Warner.
Yeah.
I forgot the other ones.
CW or something like that.
Try like local stations.
But he was saying like they're big people in the talks.
Yeah.
So I think he's relying on that too. A lot of the TV stuff to pay a lot of stuff. But I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, maybe, fair enough. Maybe there is like a big Pac-12 buyer that does buy the TV station. But it's not.
I think it's a lot of gambling, for lack of better words, I guess. If just relying on the TV deals alone, you also have to be good with the donors. You also have to get the support from the Valley. You also have to do just stuff that's going to generate revenue within the university to stay in the university, and not from like outside outlets that are going to have to be shared between all these other different colleges between the conference. So I don't know. He has a lot on his plate for sure.
He better send some I'm sorry cards, I love you donors. Like, if that was me the next day, I'm getting like my little interns there. I'll be like, hey, I need this many thank you cards for the donors. Like, I really messed up. Like, we really appreciate you. Maybe little gifts. I don't know. You better kiss their butts because you gotta get some.
Yeah.
You gotta get some donors, and they did not leave happy with you.
No.
From I wish I could play the audio. But from their questions, they were not happy.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I'm not even a donor. And I was like, the heck are you talking about? So I can't imagine the donors who do give their money and are watching it being used 100% to football. So, yeah.
It was just a weird vibe as soon as he said.
It was.
Especially because he said, we'll get in touch with one of the guys that asked the question.
He's
as soon
like,
as he
email
finished
me.
it, he was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a very weird vibe when everyone got up and just.
I mean, even to start, it was so weird because we were watching a video, which was a hype video, hyping up. And I understand, like, the video is skewed to, like, oh my God, we're amazing. Like, this is our sports, right?
Yeah.
But then he walks out. He's like, sorry, guys. I told them to make this video very long because I can't talk for 90 minutes straight. Yeah. I'm like, I mean, which I see why. He's just repeating himself.
To be fair, I don't think I'd be able to talk for 90 minutes straight.
Yeah, but I feel like those videos, director.
I feel like those videos were so long, and
he's an athletic director.
In those videos alone, it was, like you said, it kind of foreshadowed the talk because there was water polo in there, but not as much diversity in sports. It was like maybe 10 minutes just for football out of like 20 or something. So
yeah, it was mainly just we hired Matt Entz.
Yeah.
Now we're ready for football season, even though it's spring. We got all these other sports going on.
And they even talked about, like, guys, the spring football starts in 4 weeks. Okay, hasn't water polo been playing? Hasn't men's basketball been playing? Isn't baseball going to start soon? Let's talk about baseball.
Let's preview
Let's
some.
talk about-
Yeah,
preview
let's
some
move on to
spring
baseball.
sports.
Let's talk about baseball.
Preview some spring sports. We got baseball, softball.
Let's let him know what he should have talked about.
Murph Gray. That's probably.
Murph Gray.
I mean,
Murph.
first round draft to the MLB. I believe he was second team All NCAA. So we
Are
have-
any of you guys shocked that he stayed here?
I kind of expected him to go, but I feel like it's probably better for his
You
campaign.
can't tell me he didn't get more offers somewhere else.
Oh, like stay here as in college, not the draft.
Yeah, stay.
Oh,
stay
I'm like,
here.
wait.
Stay here to play college. Yes.
Oh, well, not really, because he's a Valley kid. I feel like Overland has a really good thing going on for baseball, so obviously that matters a lot. And I'm not that surprised that he stayed. Are you? Were you surprised?
a little bit. I mean, there's a lot.
I'm kind of surprised too.
Yeah, I mean, you're as good of a player like that. You have to have all these offers.
Mm-hmm.
But he decided to stay, so we do get to watch a guy that is going to get drafted very highly. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what the team is able to do this year. For sure.
I'm surprised too. It's hard to keep athletes who are high prospects to go into the league here at Fresno. Like, what athletes have actually like fully graduated from here? Orlando did not fully graduate from here.
Yeah.
Paul George
Did
did not fully graduate from here. I don't even think Devontae Adams.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they leave from here, but
Yeah.
I'm like surprised he
Mhm.
stayed. And especially like money talks. Money freaking talks. I'm so sure he was getting offers from these big schools, and he stayed here. Questions we gotta ask. It's crazy. I'm like, I get it. Like, your family's in the stands, your family gets to come
Yeah.
or whatever. But if I'm getting a big NIL deal somewhere
You're
else,
leaving?
family, I will fly you out here. Like, I will fly you out here. I need this money, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you know, this really shows like
He
family
cares.
first.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I don't know what the reason is. Maybe he really likes Coach Overland,
Yeah.
and maybe we made it to the NCAA tournament. He sees a hope in a future for men or baseball here at Fresno State. I don't know.
It's very interesting seeing these highly touted prospects, and they're actually staying. You saw Ashton Genty, who maybe should have won the Heisman. That's my 2 cents.
I think he should have won
He
He
too.
was
Jinx.
he's getting offered these
Jinx.
6-figure deals, and the Boise State coach just comes out and said, all we got was what, like 300K or
Yeah.
maybe 700K.
Yeah.
He stayed. I mean, when you have these great players, you kind of I don't think you expect them to leave, but you can tell. You could see it coming sometimes.
Yeah.
But with a guy like Murph Gray, he stays.
But
And,
it's different because like Boise is known for them being like a pretty good football school, you know? So I could see why Ashton would stay at a school that's like a big football school kind of thing. I mean, yeah, they broke a lot of records. They made it to somewhere they didn't even think they would make it and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I guess you could say we're a baseball school too. I mean, we've won.
I mean, it's not like they
We've won the
didn't
big
win
tournament, but
World
it's not like,
Series.
yeah. Like,
Cool.
a player like water polo, I could see like why you wouldn't leave, but like,
Mhm.
I mean, there's a lot of bigger baseball schools out there. you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
So, I could totally see why Ashton stayed though.
Baseball's starting up. I believe their first series is on Valentine's Day, so fans get ready for
If
that.
you need a
If
day,
you need something
Yeah.
to do,
if you
There
need
we
a
go.
day,
go to
watch,
Bob Bennett Stadium.
Go watch yourself a MLB player, a future MLB
Yeah.
player.
Another sport starting up, softball. I believe that is a week before, maybe the 7th. Excited for that. Another sport everyone loves, men and women's golf.
Tell us about men's and women's
I'm
golf.
excited for that
Ooh, we
start.
love.
Men's is getting ready for the
They barely have
National
tournaments here.
Invitational. Nope. They got a tournament coming up.
Do they?
Actually,
Here
it,
in Fresno?
They in fact
they do.
do
They have their
have a
home
tournament.
the Nick Watney Invite.
Soak it all in. It might be the last one
They
Until
have
next
about like
season.
maybe 2, yeah.
until
Tell us
next
a little
season.
bit. Tell us a little bit about the Nick Watney tournament and what is
Not
gonna
too
be.
much.
Not too
not
much
too
because
much.
it's
Not
for
too
the
much.
print too. So
Of course.
Something will be coming, right? Hopefully.
Oh yeah, in the
Mm-hmm.
coming weeks, be ready for the first edition, first paw print of the semester. Get ready for that. So the Nick Watney Invite, that is the Bulldogs home tournament. They play. Not too sure where they play. Maybe I'm not going to say. You'll
Yeah.
read about it later. But
Ask
Nick
your ISP.
Watney.
Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Producer,
Yeah.
can you get me? Okay. Nick
We are a
Watney,
solo show here.
Yeah.
his nephew is actually on the team, James. The Watney family, you bring up Watney family and the Bulldogs. They run deep, especially with golf.
You know what's funny? Classy did not mention them. Just kidding.
I was waiting. We weren't allowed to ask
Didn't
questions,
hit,
but
sorry.
I would have raised my hand. How about golf? Can we talk about that?
We
But,
weren't asking questions.
Nick Watney was a phenomenal player for the Bulldogs. Has a lot of school records. I mean, pretty much all the school records. He's up there, and they renamed the tournament after him, and that'll be played on
What
the
was it named
24th.
before? Do you know?
The Bulldog Classic.
Oh, so it was named
Something
something
like that.
with Bulldogs
with
and
Fresno
then.
State. Yeah.
Wow, big guy if he got named.
I mean,
A
yeah.
whole
he's
Took out.
tournament
You
after,
took out the
yeah.
whole
professional
mascot.
professional golfer. Played on PGA Tour, so he's definitely up there.
Wow.
And to have a tournament, your home town, your home school, name a tournament after you is a pretty big
That's
deal.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, read about it in our print soon that Finley's writing about. So, right, you're writing that
Get
story?
ready for it. Yep.
Yeah.
Getting ready for print.
What about women's golf?
Women's golf is starting on February 10th with the San Diego State University Classic. So a lot going on in those tournaments. Will be, I think they're playing, back to back to back. So there's a lot of sports.
Who's up there in the Mountain West for golf?
For golf, I think San Diego State's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
They
It
always
almost
are.
gets me mad when like it gets me mad because we're not like that. It gets me mad when like schools are good at multiple sports. San Diego, pick a sport, dude. Is it gonna be basketball? Okay, stick with basketball. Like, don't be good at any other sport.
Everything.
Boise, gosh, you're a basketball school. You're a football school. Like, pick a sport. Like, why can't we just be good at
It seems
multiple
like we
sports?
can't pick one. That's the
I
thing.
know that's why it gets me mad though, because it's
Yeah.
just like, why do teams have to be good at multiple sports?
Well, you
like,
know what we got? Water polo.
We got water polo
We
and
do-
equestrian.
Yeah.
we do got
Water polo
equestrian.
and
Yes,
equestrian.
we do. So San Diego's up there. How's Fresno State?
They're sort of middle of the pack. They always have a couple individual players, up there, top 25, top 20 leaderboard. But as a team, I'd say they're better than the men's basketball team.
Oh,
That's
That's
easy.
a
I
analogy.
think you could find like a pickup game at the rec center that's better than the men's basketball team.
Yeah, as long as no one gets injured, they could compete.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God, that's
They could
funny.
probably jump a little higher
Yeah.
too, have more height to them. Whatever.
Well, transitioning from Fresno State to professional sports, big game coming up in
Boo.
a week's time, the Super Bowl.
A week from now, I
I
will
will
not
not
be
be
watching.
No,
Jinx
we
again.
we have the Philadelphia Eagles against everyone's favorite team, Kansas
Fly
City
Eagles
Chiefs.
fly.
I guess I'm an Eagles fan that day.
We
I actually
got-
have to watch it for my
I
marketing
am in
class.
fact not an Eagles fan because they beat us in the NFC Championship.
But
a
I would
couple
much
years ago.
rather the Eagles win than the Chiefs. So like just for the day, just for not even the day, just
If
for
you're
like,
a
the time
Patrick
slot of the
Mahomes
game.
hater, please comment down below. Comment down
And we'll
below.
send you some merch because
All Patrick Mahomes haters, please
Yeah.
comment down below. We want to see you guys. We want to hear you guys. Please support us. Are you a Patrick Mahomes hater?
I am not a Patrick Mahomes enjoyer,
oh,
but
okay.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Chiefs. I'm a Packers fan, so I got no reason to hate on anyone. I think the thing I'm most angry about, I didn't want the Chiefs to win last week. I wanted the Bills to do it.
I did
I wanted
too.
Josh Allen to get a win so bad.
No matter what,
Okay, but he did get the first down.
you could. I think I'm happy that it didn't really come down to the refs. You could say he got the first down. I think it's very hard on that fourth down call. But
Oh, his body seemed pretty far off.
whether
from-
he got it or not,
Replay it right now.
he definitely crossed. Put
Whether-
it in right
Put it
now.
in right
Put
now.
the
He
clip
got
in
it
right
or
now.
He's looking from the other side where the football is right there. Does he get enough to get to that line?
After review, the ruling in the field stands as called. It'll be first down, Kansas City.
Kansas City came in with a plan. Nobody could stop this. Here's the line. Does the ball cross that definitively?
not. Josh Allen had 3 timeouts, 3 minutes, and the 2-minute warning to work with. All he needed is 3 points, and they couldn't get it done. I think I'm more mad that they
Poor
couldn't
guy.
at least bring it to overtime. Because you always see these games, Josh Allen ties the game.
Josh Allen would get flashbacks of when he didn't win the coin toss.
He ties the game, or they, their
be like, "No,
final
not
possession,
overtime."
they take the lead with a field goal, and then Mahomes goes down and does Mahomey things.
Oh, we know. I'm a
But
Niners
now,
fan. I know.
I'm gonna be rooting for the Eagles. I'm gonna say fly, Eagles, fly.
I'll say fly, Eagles,
Shout out
fly.
Saquon Barkley. He
I'll say
carried my
fly.
fantasy
Gosh.
team this year.
What a season,
Yeah.
huh?
I think there's a lot more people you can root for the Eagles than the Chiefs. That's just my opinion. I think you can.
What's your fantasy league challenge? Do you guys have like a challenge that you guys do if you
Or like the punishment?
Well, thankfully, I don't get last, so I don't have to
Oh,
worry about that.
brother.
But I've seen some crazy challenges done out there. We've never done a last place. The only one in one of my leagues that I actually won. I'm a flex right there. I won a league this year. The last place had
The
to
league
was
do-
only him in the
league
league.
had 2 people.
it was me, my mom, and my 2 dogs. No, we had 12 people in there. and
Wow,
then
what a great league to win against.
the last place person had to just do their buy-in again. So I mean that's not.
Oh.
just
What do you
pay
mean
the-
do their
so
pay
you-
everyone's buy-in?
No. Like the buy-in was 30, so everyone puts in 30, and then last place just had to put in another 30.
That's not even that bad.
That's not bad at all.
So
I mean, you have-
60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're you're down 60. But I mean, I've seen some people have to do like the milk mile,
Yeah.
or they have to stay in like a Denny's for 24
I
hours.
seen this guy stay in a bar for 24 hours and he had to
Yeah.
drink every hour.
Well,
And
to bring his time down.
Yeah, to bring his
so
time
like,
down, yeah.
But
like if you're at Waffle
actually,
House, though, every pancake is like an hour off or something like that.
that's crazy.
that's like diabetes after
yeah.
that. I seen fantasy football.
I know where you're going with
Like I seen what do you call it? Like a challenge,
a
not really
punishment.
punishment.
Yeah.
A punishment,
For
yes.
class.
I seen a fantasy football punishment on the corner of Doghouse, right across from Save Mart Center.
Mhm.
And it was this guy like all in Raiders gear. I'm sure he didn't like the Raiders. All in Raiders gear, waving a flag of like the Raiders flag, and some guy next to him was holding a sign and be like, "This is a fantasy football punishment." Points an arrow to him. I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" I'm like, "That's
That'd
a good
be-
idea."
That'd be
But
so
poor
bad.
guy,
That's
everyone
that's
was
not
honking
too
at him.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to what some leagues do,
People go
that's-
hard, man.
That's pretty
People go
tame
hard.
Yeah.
for fantasy punishment.
I was
Yeah.
pretty close.
I did see that. I'm like driving. I'm like, should I honk at him? Should I not? Like,
Go Raiders. No,
No.
not the Raiders.
but like, good for him. He did his challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the corner of Doghouse.
I mean, and that's a very like
What a
highly
good
transited
scenery, right?
area. Like right outside,
Yeah.
right by the highway. It's crazy.
Yeah. But
Back to the Super Bowl. The Bulldogs actually have a player that will be playing, Nico Remigio, who's made a name for himself. in the
gosh,
Yeah,
playoffs.
did you
he's
see
been
his
good.
play?
But he fumbled. But then like, good thing it was recovered.
63 yards, he
Good thing
fumbled,
it was
but hey.
good thing it was recovered
Samaje
because like
Perine
So
was
does
right
he get
there.
the credit for this?
He gets the return yardage, but he does. Yeah, I mean,
No, but in
Doesn't
your
lose the
brain,
fumble.
does he get the credit? Like, you go.
I think so. He took it 63 yards. I mean,
He
he's
did
gotta be
take
good
it
for
63
something.
yards, but that's like, I don't know. I can't think of an analogy, but that's like going super far and you don't make it anywhere, you know?
But he, I think he finished the game with like 100 return yards, so he did
He
something
did.
after that.
Yeah.
And then last week against Buffalo, returned to punt pretty far. So he's doing very well. He's made a name for himself,
Good
and people
for
are
him.
talking about him. A Fresno State,
yeah.
former Fresno State Bulldog, they're talking about him.
You know, it's
That's pretty
funny
cool.
considering like classy, so like football,
Back to
football.
classy.
He did not talk about Nico Remigio. You know, it's a big thing. I don't tell my donors that. Hey,
yeah,
look
got a
it.
player playing in the
We
Super
can
Bowl.
get our players here, but we just need your money. Anyways,
I mean, yeah, there was a couple Bulldogs in the NFC. There was a Michael Walker, linebacker
Yeah.
for the
Mhm.
Commanders. He was in the NFC Championship. There's quite a bit of Bulldogs in the NFL that actually
Maurice?
had some playing time. Yep, for
Maurice
the
and the Lions. Yeah.
gosh, he had to step up on defense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Injuries.
injuries. He had to step
We
up.
did have him on our podcast.
Go back. I believe it was episode 8.
Episode 8, if you
I
go
think-
back to our podcast, you can listen to him.
Yeah.
We'll insert like
Great
a
story.
snippet right here.
And for kids that are maybe listening to this and looking up to you, what words do you have to say to them that they potentially want to be in your shoes? What
Yeah.
advice could you give to them?
First, let me shout out Tranquility High School. I went there my first year in high school, freshman year. I might go out there on my bye week and say what's up to the kids and the guys out there, because those are my. You from out there?
Yeah.
You ain't from out there.
Yeah.
But nah, I just want to shout out to them. I'm gonna be out there soon. But for all the young kids, I just went to talk to a youth football team, actually, the the Central Eagles little team.
I
But
think I saw that
yeah.
on social media.
I went to talk to them, but it's just, y'all can't give up, man. No matter what you go through, no matter your position or
How long you played?
you know how long you play, man, or your status, man. If you ain't got no money for no cleats, all you got is shoes. It don't matter, man. Just keep going.
But yeah, we did have him on our podcast. Go back and listen to that.
It's not just Devontae Adams and Derek Carr in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's quite a few Bulldogs there.
You know what I'm not looking forward to? Seeing Taylor Swift pop up every
Xavier
second.
Worthy, he's from the Valley. He
True, yeah.
recently was on a podcast and did say not on a podcast, actually. He was on ABC 30 with Alec Nolan.
Oh.
And he did tell Alec Nolan that he met Taylor Swift. And he's like, yeah, I met her. It's kind of cool.
That is cool.
I don't like her, but
No, we didn't.
Yeah, they'll probably
Ever
have
since-
a Swifty counter going every time they show
Yeah.
her up.
Yeah,
in
it
the
might be
press
like
box.
some
flashbacks to like
watch
last
party
time.
challenge,
Yeah.
right? Every time Taylor
Yeah.
Swift pops up on the screen, do a cartwheel or whatever.
A cartwheel is crazy.
Anyways, last talk.
Well, I got the Eagles winning. I think they could actually do it.
Yeah, I got the Eagles too.
I got and I want the Eagles to win so bad. I just can't have the Chiefs. It won't be good for my mental health at this point.
Saquon's going to show up. Can Jalen Hurts show up? I think that's a big difference. I mean, the defenses are incredible. Is Kelsey actually going to do anything with 2 catches for 20 yards last game?
No, he's going to be staring at Taylor
No,
Swift
yeah.
up in the
He won't be doing much.
suites.
Well, we'll see.
He's
Is
been
Jason Kelsey
sleeping.
going to be announcing?
He'll probably be on one of like the
broadcast,
fan
right?
casts or something. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know Fox is doing it. So it's Brady, Kevin Burkhardt. Sorry, Brady haters, but you'll be hearing him do the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I, in fact, do not like Brady's announcing.
Yeah, I think he's definitely gotten better. But to start the
don't
year,
like
I
it.
really did not like.
I don't
much of
like it either. He just.
I think it's
don't know.
funny.
No, he just dissects the game too much. Like, I get it. Like, nobody wants to hear about specific little things that are happening in the game. Like, just give us a general idea. Like, you're not talking to, like, not me sitting on my couch. I'm not gonna know quarterback talk in this play. I just don't like it. I don't know.
I feel like that's a different thing that he brings though. Is like he knows it so well that he like dissects
But he
it
talks
so
in
much.
terminology that not everybody's gonna know.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
I think the
Know
thing
your
I'm-
audience, right? Know your
Yeah,
audience.
there we go. I think the thing I'm more angry about, I really love Greg Olson, and he had one great year last year, and then, nope, we're bringing in Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So he took his spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tom Brady is Tom Brady though.
Yeah.
I like Greg
Yeah.
Olson.
Yeah.
Anyways, is that all we got for today, or
That is all we got for today. It was a good first episode of the semester.
Yeah. How do you feel? First
Felt good.
episode.
I
Let's
feel
cool
good.
down. Good.
Nice and
nice and
He's
cool in
chill.
here?
Cool
Actually,
down
pretty hot in here.
podcast.
So yeah,
these
it's
lights.
kind of hot.
These
Yeah.
lights are bright.
Yeah.
But that will first episode 1 is in the books. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope you tune in next week for our second episode. Yeah, that's all we have here at
Talking
the
a
Collegian
little bit
Cooldown.
more about different things.
Yeah.
We're
Not just
excited.
football.
Yep.
Not just football.
That is all.
If you want to get different talk, stay here.
Yeah.
But we're excited. Let us know who you got for the Super Bowl. Let us know if you're a Mahomes hater, because we are too.
And who you want to see on the
We are
podcast. Maybe we'll
yeah.
have some special
Yeah,
guests down the
suggest
line.
people.
Yeah,
because-
we'll definitely have people. Let us know who you want to see.
Yeah.
We out.
That's all, folks.